It was a cold, rainy evening when Arman slumped onto the creaky wooden bench at the bus stop, his thin jacket doing little to keep away the chill. His shoes were worn out, the solace almost torn. He had just been rejected from yet another job. Interview. The kind where the interviewer smiled politely, but his eyes had already decided no the moment he saw Arman's old, wrinkled resume. The sound of raindrops hitting the metal shelter was the only thing breaking the silence. In his pocket he found the last 200 rupees he had left. His stomach twisted in hunger, but as he glanced across the street he noticed a small, dusty lottery shop, its flickering neon sign glowing weakly in the rain. He laughed bitterly to himself. A lottery ticket? As if life will ever change for me. But something inside him, maybe desperation, maybe a whisper of hope, urged him forward. He crossed the street, bought one single ticket, and tucked it away like a secret. That night he went to bed in his tiny rented room, the sound of water dripping from the ceiling lulling him into a restless sleep. The next morning life felt just the same. He worked odd jobs, carrying heavy boxes at the market, sweeping the floor at a mechanic's shop, doing anything to scrape enough money for rent and food. The lottery ticket lay forgotten on his desk, under a pile of unpaid bills. Days passed and the lottery date came. Arman didn't even remember until his old neighbor, Uncle Rafiq, called out to him, holding a tiny radio in his wrinkled hands, announcing the winning numbers. Arman's heart stopped when the numbers matched one after another, perfectly aligning with the ones printed on his ticket. He stood frozen, the ticket trembling in his hand. He had just become a millionaire. The news spread quickly. Friends he hadn't spoken to in years suddenly appeared, relatives who once ignored his struggles came knocking on his door, and everyone had advice on how he should spend his fortune. At first, Arman felt on top of the world. He bought himself a new house, clothes that didn't have holes, and a car that actually started on the first try. But slowly, he began to realize that money brought its own challenges. People started treating him differently. The same neighbors who once shared tea and bread with him now spoke with envy behind his back. Some friends borrowed money and never returned it. Even his closest relationships began to feel shallow, as if kindness now came with a price tag. One evening, as he drove past the old market where he used to work, he saw a little boy selling roasted corn in the rain. The boy's clothes were thin, his hands trembling from the cold, yet he smiled at every customer. Arman saw himself in that child, the same struggle, the same quiet determination. He pulled over and spoke to the boy, learning that his father was sick and the boy worked to pay for medicine. That night, Arman realized something that changed everything. His fortune wasn't just for him. Money could buy comfort, but real happiness came from the difference he could make in someone else's life. From that day on, Arman started helping quietly, without grand announcements. He paid school fees for children in his old neighborhood, fixed leaking roofs, and started a small community fund for struggling families. He didn't flaunt his wealth, and soon he found genuine respect and love returning to his life, not because of what he had, but because of what he gave. Years later, Arman was still wealthy, but his richest possessions were the smiles, blessings, and friendships that money alone could never buy. And whenever someone asked him about his success, he would smile and say, "The lottery didn't make me rich, it only gave me a chance. What made me truly rich was learning the value of giving."